everybody, it's Jen with Caketastic Cakes, and I'm going to show you how to make a Choo Choo Charles gum paste cake decoration. And if you are familiar with Choo Choo Charles, then you know, and you're here for the right reason. Otherwise, you might be like, what the heck is a Choo Choo Charles? But yeah, it's a horror game. It is pretty new, and basically imagine Thomas the Tank Engine gone evil and spidery, and there you got it, Choo Choo Charles. And before I begin too far, please consider liking and subscribing and leaving comments below. It helps with the YouTube algorithms and keeps me relevant. So yes, there's that. All right, to begin my Choo Choo Charles, as you can see, I have a big thick rectangle in the back there and a smaller, flatter rectangle in the front. You're going to make a letter L. You're going to let these set up so they become nice and sturdy. And I'm using 2 pieces of dried spaghetti to connect them with a little bit of water in between. This will give them a lot of stability. I'm going to make the tank, I guess, part of his engine right now, so I'm just creating a cylinder. I did end up making it a little bit bigger, I guess, than it should be technically, but I feel like it looks fine, so I'm not too worried about that. It goes maybe about halfway, not even, down the length of the L with a shorter one in the front, like a little bit smaller in the front. That's where the face is going to be. That little piece of spaghetti I put in there is going to support, I'm assuming, the exhaust stack or the smoke stack coming out of his head. So yeah, a long cylinder of red gum paste, trim it down to make it a nice height. It shouldn't be any higher than the engine house, I'm going to call it, the vertical rectangle in the back. Now this little rectangle is going to go on the front. I don't know what it's called. I don't know trains. So it's just a little flat rectangle on the front. And again, this is all gum paste. I get asked a lot if you can use fondant for this kind of stuff. And you could, as long as you add Tylose or CMC powder to it to really make it firm up. Otherwise, this would never hold with just fondant. You'd have to treat it first. I'm putting thin little strips, there's 3 of them there, around the big engine, big barrel part, just to kind of highlight it, make it look a little more, I don't know, industrial, I guess. This is a little flat rectangle. I'm going to trim part of it away with the circle so it'll go around the drum, I'm calling it now, because I have no idea once again. And this is supposed to be the window that is in the front of the engine house that the engineer would look through, or I don't know, engineer I'm going to say, would look through. It should have been taller. This is where I said it should have been taller. That little thing, that rectangle, the engine house in the back, should have been taller in order to make it look a little more accurate. But this is what I did, and I'm still happy with it, so I'm sticking by it. I put 2 little windows on the side, as you saw there. I have no idea if they should be there or not. I just felt like it belonged. I'm putting a little cap on the exhaust, and now I'm going to start with my black. This is more gum paste again. You could use fondant as long as you treat it first. And I'm going to cut a square to go over the engine house, but if you can see, when I'm cutting with my knife, I'm cutting at a sharp angle, so that way my roof is slanted. It's not rolled out very thin. It's got a little bit of a thickness to it, and I just kept trimming away until it fit the roof so that it stuck out a little bit on all edges, and I was happy with it. I made a smaller rectangle to fit inside the, square on the top, and it just kind of made the roof finished the look of it. I thought it looked pretty sharp. I liked it. A little rectangle of black goes onto that front plate. Make sure you leave red all around the edges, and a little black on top of my exhaust. Now I'm going to cut out 2 little red circles, and this is rolled out very thin. The black on the front plate is very thin. Those red circles are very thin as I could get them and still have them hold shape. Still working with gum paste. I got gray that I made 2 little spikes, so imagine like 2 little Hershey Kisses, and stick them on the front. And then I made a black circle and flattened one side of it, put a little white circle on top of it to make a spotlight. The spotlight does have like a little cover, a little hood over it that I put on later, so I kind of messed it up there, but I will add it on later. This is his face. Now we're getting to Choo Choo Charles's face. He is like a freaky Thomas the Tank Engine, like I mentioned. I hollowed out 2 circles for the eyes, and I outlined them with my red food coloring marker, and then put 2 white balls in the center. He's got a little square rectangle-y kind of nose that goes between the eyes, and then a big, crazy, happy, jokery mouth. I'm just using the veining tool and the handle from my paintbrush in order to create all these hollows and everything. And again, the red food coloring marker in order to do his lips. He has got some fierce lips, let me tell you. If you look at pictures of him, they have a cupid's bow and lines that go up to the nostrils. His nose is kind of outlined in red, and he has two very triangular, kind of clown-ish looking eyebrows that I drew on there. This is some off-white. It's actually, I think, ivory color gum paste that I'm making teeth. I just cut a whole bunch of skinny triangles, and then of course they were too long. And so I trimmed them down shorter and put them in the mouth until his mouth is just full of different size, jaggedy, sharp teeth. Now I'm gonna stick him on the front, just like that. And already, yeah, he's not too shabby looking. He's looking pretty good. Now these are lollipop sticks. I'm using 8-inch lollipop sticks, and I probably cut them down to 6.5 inches. And you can see those two bends I'm doing. There's one that's maybe a quarter of the way down, and then another quarter, not even quite a quarter of the way down. And those are going to become the legs. His legs are very spidery and very jointed, and they're very swollen at the joints. So I'm taking black gum paste. I've got all my sticks bent up so they're ready to go. I'm taking that tube of black gum paste and just working it on. It is way too much, so I'm not worried about that. I'm going to leave a little bit at the end where I'm going to press it into the train, and the rest is going to be all covered up. So what I'm doing here is I'm kind of pinching to one side. You see there's a lot of excess there in the center of the curve that I'm cutting off. I'm going to keep doing that until I get to the point where the legs are skinny in the center, and again at the joints, especially that second joint out from his body, I guess you'd say, it's going to be very swollen looking. Again, just trimming it away. Pinch it off to one side and trim it away. If you end up trimming too much and you expose the lollipop stick, don't worry about it. Just, press it around, smear it in, and you'll be able to cover it up again without any problems. All right, now I've got my nice swollen joints here on my nice spidery legs. I'm using the back of my knife to create marks to make it look like it's jointed there, or like hinged together where the two pieces of the exoskeleton would come together. And I'm using the thin side of my veining tool in order to create just some lines to make it much more, I don't know the word, creepy and spooky and more hard exoskeleton-y, Just like that, yes. And so put it aside and do this 7 more times because he does have 8 legs. And I am using lollipop sticks because I don't use wires in my decorations. I don't use wires. I don't use toothpicks. Typically these decorations are going on kids' cakes, and I don't want anyone getting hurt. No one gets hurt biting into a lollipop stick, and no one gets hurt eating dried spaghetti. It might not taste good, but it's going to be crunchy, and it's not going to stick in the mouth. So yeah, not on my watch. That's what I always say. As you can see, I've got the 8 legs laying there. I'm going to put the side panels on the train now. I had originally messed around with different wheels and stuff, and I didn't like them, so I ripped them all off. I have the rectangle there that I put little tiny grooves along the top. If you look at pictures of Choo Choo Charles, you'll see it's kind of serrated along the top edge there. So that's what I'm doing there. Again, do it on both sides. Nothing big or shocking here. I'm going to outline the center panel with black again. Make sure, like in the front, you have red showing all around it. Do it again on the other side, just like that. He's very red and black, so there's lots of red and black. Now his face, I'm using my brown marker, and I'm just giving him a lot of wrinkles and a lot of creases. He, I guess, does not have any type of moisturizing agent to use when he's a spider train, so he's very wrinkly. He's got lots of wrinkles. His skin is not the best. It's a white face, but it's very aged and kind of sepia looking, sort of. Lots of wrinkles, so just filling them in. This is a black food coloring marker that I'm putting indentations because my gum paste is still a little pliable. So I'm putting dents and marks because he's pretty beat up from murdering everybody on the island he lives on. And now I'm using some water and some black gel food coloring, and I'm going over all those marks I just made to blend them in and to make him look much more dirty and worn. So yeah, I guess his red shiny coat is getting rusty or something, but I'm going over all over him except for the face. You don't want to mess up your nice white and brown face. So I did the black on the top, I did the black on the sides, all around the red. Now I'm going to add the legs on, which was a mistake. I should have done the wheels next because the legs got in the way, which you will see, but here's what I did. I used a clean lollipop stick there and I just spaced it out so that I'll have one leg right against the wheelhouse, one leg right next to his face, right at the beginning of that big barrel, and then the other two in between, so they're evenly spaced. My legs have had time to set, but they're still a little pliable, so they can still be positioned. And I'm also using those two pieces of wood just to hold him up. So this way, when I do add the wheels, he will be off the ground. And when the wheels finally harden and can support the weight, with his spider legs there, it'll look like he's actually suspended, like he's off the ground. He's not going to be dragging on his belly. So again, same thing on the other side. Those legs look so cool. I was so happy with them. Look at that. That is so awesome. Now his legs aren't like a true black. They have kind of like a brownish shine to them. So I'm using copper food coloring and again a little bit of water in order to paint over them. I used to have this really cool thing. It was a candy maker's shining spray, basically. You would spray it over your candy to make it real shiny and glossy. I wish it still worked. I ended up running out, so I haven't bought more, but I would love to have gone over this and sprayed them to really make them stay shiny, because eventually the food coloring will absorb. This is white food coloring that I'm making a circle on the right side of his engine house that says Charles in just messy letters. It's a circle with two lines at an angle with the name Charles going across it, you know, at a slight angle. I should not have put those windows on there, but when I tried to pick them off, they were tearing the engine house. It was going to wreck it. So I was forced to leave them. That's why I didn't mention them before. Only put them on the left side, not the right. The right side should just have the name Charles. But keep it messy, you know, he's been worn, he's been murdering people, he's not in the best, you know, appearance-wise that he could be. But look at that, that is so awesome. All right, now I'm going to show you how I make the wheels. He has a lot more wheels than this. This is just what I did. Of course, you know, do it your own way, make it better. My husband was sure to give me grief about it, how I didn't have the right number of wheels. And I'm like, you know what? You're helping. Yes, thank you. So anyway, yeah, I made 3 thick circles. These are thick. They're going to be supporting the weight eventually of the train, and he's no skinny boy, so they have to be good and solid. I made those indentations at an angle to try to give it like that triangular look that train wheels have. And I'm sticking them underneath with a little bit of water. I cut them in half so that way it looks like, you know, they're underneath the train a bit. And I think there's supposed to be like 5 of them, but I fit 3. So again, do better than me. But I add a little bit of water to it and stick it underneath, and you can see it's just sitting on one piece of wood now, so that way it straddles it, but it's supported. So that way the wheels can have time to dry and harden without any damage or mushing, and he looks so cool. This is one of those things that I hate to give away because he just came out so neat looking. This is going to be my final touch here. I'm making 2 little whistles, 2 little cylinders, excuse me, red gum paste with a little, you know, teardrop kind of shaped cap on top. I know, again, they're supposed to come up around the top, but I don't use wires, so I stuck them on the side just like that. Going to dirty them up with a little bit of water and black food coloring, just like before. I'm going to go over everything a little bit more, because why not? And boom! Choo Choo Charles. Looks amazing. I was so happy with this. So I hope you found this video helpful. Please like and subscribe, because again, it really does help me out. I've got a ton of other videos out there, so be sure to take a look. And as always, thank you for watching Caketastic Cakes.